Aesop, you're a fucking retard. And Bug's Life was your worst movie.
Hello, and welcome to the Retro Game Gauntlet Reviewcast, where we play video games for a week that have been randomly decided for us, and then we'll complain about them. I'm Torsvik, and I'm here with Septopus.
I am not going to play any Bug's Life games.
Well, so we did our first sort of delving into PlayStation this week. We've never played the hottest titles. We kind of always grew up with we had the 64, and I don't know. Did we ever really have a desire to get a PlayStation when we were young?
No. Well, okay. I had the one game.
What is the one game?
I can't even remember.
Spider-Man?
Oh, no, Jade Cocoon.
Oh,
I had like whenever like I was with like when we were like I had a friend's house, like they would play like Tomb Raider or whatever or Crash Bandicoot, and I didn't care. I was like PlayStation, whatever. Though in retrospect, probably having a PlayStation was probably the better choice than the N64. I don't know.
Depends on which you were in the market. That's give or take. There's a lot of garbage that's on the PlayStation as well. There's a lot of garbage on both.
But but even still, because all I knew at that age was Mario and Sonic, and since Sonic was now dead, effectively at least, because no one's buying Sega Saturns, and no one bought the Dreamcast. But so I never really wanted a PlayStation except when I saw in game magazines Jade Cocoon, because when I saw things like Jade Cocoon, I was all like, that's like hardcore Pokemon, right? That's like serious bug monsters, like wrecking shit, and you're like smushing them together to make super bug monsters.
Jade Cocoon kind of sucks.
Yeah, don't ruin my illusion.
It's kind of good, but also kind of sucks. It's good until you realize, oh shit, I have to actually play the game twice. They reuse the game. Like what they do is they actually take the first half of the game, and then they pellet swap the whole thing. Like I'm not exaggerating either. They kind of bump up the level of all the monsters, and then they do a pellet swap, and that's what ruined it. It was cool up until that point. What about Twisted Metal? That's another one of those that was like, when you're a little kid, it's like I don't fucking want to play Twisted. Do you remember that one?
No, well, I know Twisted Metal, but I don't know if that ever caught my eye. At least the way you're describing it.
I figured Twisted Metal would be like, oh, I want to fucking drive the car with the clown. I want to drive the clown car and shoot other cars with bazookas.
I don't know.
That was always what I remember for like PlayStation. I mean, in retrospect, I think the PlayStation we can both agree upon had one really good thing, which was if you wanted an RPG, you're only getting it on PlayStation. There are no RPGs on the 64.
Hey, want to come over to my house and play Quest 64?
Yeah. What else is there? There's like Ogre Battle 64, which is a pretty alright game, but you know what? It's nothing compared to like getting a Dragon Quest game.
It's no real Squeenix game.
Yeah. Especially, when you compare it to how many good ones that were on the Super Nintendo just previously. There's a lot of good RPGs on that sucker. Anyway, so yeah, this is like new territory for us almost completely because we did have a PlayStation 2. Did we get it? We were kind of late on the PlayStation 2 wagon.
I bought the PlayStation 2 once the Slim came out.
Yeah. I don't know how that
was. And it was quickly a very positive investment because I'm pretty sure like within a year, like I had already, if not matched, got close to matching our like GameCube library.
Yeah, and with some pretty good games as well. Like some real classics. I think a lot of people would agree that PlayStation 2 was really like the console to have of that generation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things on the GameCube, but compared to the uniqueness and creativity that was on the PlayStation 2, it's definitely outshined.
A lot of people like to poo-poo on Xbox as a sort of retrospect. But at the same time, I've also been like hearing like there's been this sort of like resurgence of people who are like, no, but there were some serious gems on Xbox.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't play the new Shenmue game unless you had the Xbox.
That's true, but a lot of people.
And wasn't there? And didn't also was it a Panzer Dragoon game that was also Xbox exclusive, something like that?
I think it was just a re-release.
Was that what it was?
There wasn't a new one. They didn't have a sequel to Saga. I just don't think that there was enough interest. Saga's a really cool game. It's really cool RPG sort of thing. It's important that we're talking about RPGs because I actually played one, and you played, I think, as almost as far as you could get from an RPG.
Nah, yeah, a light gun shooter.
Yeah,
an arcade light gun shooter.
All right, so and actually because we're so foreign to early PlayStation and stuff like that, I think we're gonna actually give it a second roll at the end of this podcast.
We gotta pad out our library of PlayStation games.
Yeah. Well, we've done everything
compensate for that hole in our childhood.
Compensate for the hole in the childhood and the hole in the things that we've had to play so far. So.
Yeah, I guess so.
The game I got was Chocobo's Dungeon 2. That's the proper title. It's the first one was actually Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. I don't know why they dropped the mystery part for the sequel. They just did. Maybe they thought it was too many words on the box and Americans weren't going to buy it.
Before you start talking about the game, I just realized now while our games are completely divergent in genre and theme, we do actually have a themed session this week.
Oh, we always have a theme.
We're both playing sequels. We're both playing sequels without having actually played the first game.
We just can't escape themes. I think only like the first two that we played, the first two gauntlets, had no correlation whatsoever.
We need to go back and find it then.
Find the theme.
Yeah.
I like the theme of the last podcast. It was a good one.
What was the last one? I don't even remember.
It was Family Dog and
Oh yeah, I played Family Dog.
You are a blocked out Family Dog. Anyway,
I was just thinking Ninja Week, and then this week.
So I assume I've never actually played any of the Mystery Dungeon games, so I'm all going off of assumption as to how similar this is. So I can't say this is, if you played a Mystery Dungeon game, it's just like that. But I'm going to assume it mostly is. It's a very lightweight RPG. Talk a little bit about it. It was actually kind of refreshing playing this game, especially right after Liberty or Death, where I had to do basically research in order how to play the game. You
need to read a history book.
Yeah. I popped the sucker on and I started up the game and it was like nice. I can just push a direction and I go in that direction. I'm not joking. That was like nice that I could just turn on a video game and pushing up made me go up. And I just had a good handle on everything. But the game is like really self-explanatory. I didn't have to look at any manuals or anything. And it's like you figure out, okay, I can move. It took me a moment or two to go, oh, I can actually move diagonally. It's pretty nice that I'm using, an emulating like Xbox controller. I imagine this would have been pretty difficult on a PlayStation controller to try and move diagonally. I can imagine being a kid and being frustrated trying to like mash sideways with like the broad of my thumb.
Especially since PlayStation controllers, the directionals are segmented. It's not a solid D-pad.
And even the button layout is like really simple. You got your X, which is both your attack and your interact. You got triangle, which pops open like your menu where you got items and all that crap. One of the shoulders is your kick button. I'll get more into like the kick mechanic. You got like a shorthand for your character sheet and a way to blow up the mini map because I imagine it's like a pixel size type mini map. And on older TVs, I can really see it being difficult to read without you enlarging it. So they even got that so you can actually read the map. Now, as far as this game plays, I don't know exactly what you would call it. It's got like a time-ish function where taking actions causes time to pass. So when you move a step, then every other monster on the map also gets to move a step. And also there's a few other things you have like an amount of energy, which you recover by eating food, so you don't starve while you're in the middle of the dungeon, and health, which health goes up over time, just as like a natural healing. Very slowly, mind you. One of the things I kind of wish it had was a wait button, but other than a few times where you would get like cursed and you're just trying to run out the curse, you kind of want to keep moving a little bit to prevent your energy from running out. It's done in an RPG style, so you go around, you find a bad guy on the map, and you fight him by you just tap X while you look at him, and then you get experience points, you level up. It's done in a sort of, in the style of like Rogue or Angbad, where there is, like, you die and you're kind of put back, but it's not done in the really harsh Rogue style. Even though I think the fad is mostly dead for the roguelikes or the roguelike light. I don't know. Is that still a popular thing?
The Enter the Gungeon just came out. That was a roguelike, and it was really popular.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's completely gone.
I didn't think it was completely gone, but like 2 years ago, there was a stint where like that was every game that was coming. Every indie game was we made a new roguelike. We got FTL. One of the more recent ones is Darkest Dungeon that I think of.
I think part of it was at least what made Gungeon so popular was it was sort of just the right amount of time sort of when there was a sort of quiet moment where none of those came out.
Yeah.
So it came just when people were like fucking sick of them and they dumped them all, but we're still itching for a new one. And also just because it was an actual good one.
Yeah, no, because there was a lot of just not good ones. Because it being roguelike is oftentimes an excuse for you to just not put in any balancing.
Yeah.
Just to wait for the die to roll in your favor. Like,
why bother coming up with creative level design? Just have a random tile set do it for you.
Yeah. I mean, which it's an alright design, like in concept, but the fact that with the, especially with the popularity of, what's it called? What is the super popular one?
Isaac.
Yes, thank you. Binding of Isaac, where it's like you only need so many of those games that require so little effort to actually put it together, and it just oftentimes becomes a grind of people just wait till I get the right item, and then you can play the game. But what this does is instead of it putting you back to the very beginning, it kicks you out of the dungeon and it scoops away all of your items. So it might also do some experience point damage. I don't know. I never paid that close of attention. This game is laid back enough that I didn't really pay attention to my level, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
So what it kind of has the feeling of is you don't feel like you have to restart from the beginning, for sure. You're in a new dungeon. You already have some of your level. Instead, it has more like the shmup effect of when you lose. Like, especially think about like R-Type or Gradius. When you have to use a continue and you go, oh, fuck. I don't have any of the power-ups that I had built up in my progression of playing the game. So I'm kind of like stuck grinding against a wall here. I assume you know the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it kind of like the game will just like hit a fast halt and turn into a grind of you just like waiting to get like build up some more items again and amass a like good arrangement of items. As far as items you get, there's sort of there's a nice little assortment. You get your equipables, you get spells, and you get, especially because I bring up the roguelike, this is actually more roguelike than a lot of roguelikes do, is you get items that are unlabeled. Or I shouldn't say unlabeled, they're just given descriptors. So let's say you find, of the items, there's like cards you'll find, there'll be nuts you'll find, and there'll be potions. These are sort of the big three that will be just given descriptors. So you'll be in the dungeon and you find a potion. And when you pick it up, it'll just be called a bubbly potion. Now, the way you would do it to sort of discover what it is you might have an identify item that will tell you just what it is. You can try and kick it at someone. You're a bird, so you can't throw it. So you got to kick it at people. Or you can just try to drink it yourself, taking the risk of, is it poison? Is it a healing potion? Etc., etc., etc. And what it does is, so you found a bubbly potion. Let's say you got like 5 bubbly potions. You've built up a whole bunch of them. You drink one of them and it goes, oh, cool. It's just a healing potion. It now reveals all the bubbly potions as being healing potions. So, and now whenever you would have found that bubbly potion, it will be automatically revealed as a healing potion for the rest of the time that you're in that dungeon. If you die or if you leave that dungeon, all those items, or every item will be, what's it called? Identified for you, but when you go back into the dungeon, everything's going to be scrambled up again. And there's no real way to use the like descriptors to regularly find the same item twice. It's just completely mixed up as far as I can tell.
Okay, so you can't determine 100%, like once you found out that the bubbly potion is a healing potion,
next time it might be the slimy potion is the healing potion. There might be, I can't say for sure, this is something that you would probably see in like in a guide or something like that. Maybe it's like 30% chance that a bubbly potion is a healing potion, like where it just has a higher tendency or something like that. But nothing that's perfectly obvious.
I was gonna say, have you ever had an instance where it's like a tasty potion and it's poison?
Well, very first tasty potion you get in the game is actually nitro. So it's been all over, and I've also had tasty potions that have been the high healing potions. So as far as I can tell, it completely mixes them up, but there might be some tendency to one or another. So this kind of goes against my normal opinion of RPGs and stuff like that. I think Septopus, you have a pretty strong idea as to what my opinion is to what like good RPGs are. Needless to say, I'm not a big fan of the Final Fantasy series, especially like Final Fantasies, all the Super Nintendo ones. I don't really care for, let alone 7 and up. I know that some people will flip their shit. This is I'm putting out the clickbait right here.
We've got a serious hot take right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Torsvik does not like the RPG you like.
Hey, trigger warning, you guys. Final Fantasy VII kind of sucked. It was boring. I got so bored during 7, I can't explain how boring it was. I just wanted to play the game, but it wouldn't let me. Instead, it just kind of held my hand through the plot and let me automatically beat every enemy.
So for the title card for this podcast, right, we're going to have you like with a really angry face, and it's going to have like a picture of, what's his name? The main protagonist in 7.
Cloud.
Sora. Cloud. It's gonna have like a picture of like Cloud like in a dumpster behind you if you like an angry face, and it says like Final Fantasy VII is bad. Click here to find out why.
But yeah, no, I'm very much a fan of the build your own party and the faceless protagonists where you really get to decide what they are. Not even just like, not just like wizardry, though wizardry is very much like that. But Final Fantasy 1 I really like, and I think it's Final Fantasy 3 does a really cool thing where you like build classes and they like grow as classes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'll tell you why I really like this. Because it was one of the most relaxing games I've ever played. It's definitely a game where there's minimal stress. You don't have to read a ton of text or follow a strong plot. I don't know anything that's going on in the plot with this game. I didn't finish it. It's a long game, and I don't think I was going to finish it in any way.
Well, while we're on the topics of hot takes for RPG opinions, I've got a hot take for you. Now put this in your pipe and smoke it, all right? Because it's going to blow your mind. The reasons you're speaking why you didn't like the later Final Fantasies because they're set characters that you don't really get to develop yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like Mother 3. It's like, real talk, I could not stand playing Mother 3.
Oh, being forced to switch out characters?
It's basically you're railroaded every party you do.
Yeah.
It was maddening that there's never like a consistent, I'm playing Lucas from point A to point C, end of game kind of
thing. Well, did you play through the whole thing?
I beat the game, yes.
Okay, because there is a point where it does kind of focus on them more. After you get Dusty back in the party, it does.
Yeah, but let's be real. The intro of that game is like 20% of the game.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Let's also talk about RPGs and massive intros. I liked Mother 3, but it has problems.
Earthbound 1 is better.
Earthbound 1?
Which way? Yeah, Earthbound or.
Are you saying Mother 1?
Mother 2.
Mother 2, Earthbound 1, Mother 0.
No. Yeah. I'd say that one's better, even though its RPG mechanics are more jank and primitive. I prefer playing that one.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the bigger overall things...
Give me Earthbound with Mother 3's music mechanic, and I'll
which never worked on emulation because it
well, yeah, because it doesn't work on emulation.
Desynced.
Yeah.
But
just desynced enough.
This is actually if someone has never played, I'm once again assuming this is like other mystery dungeon games. If you're the kind of person who likes MMOs, this is probably the kind of game for you because it's kind of just like slow and grindy. There's very little.
I'm pretty sure people who do high level MMO raids and stuff probably contend with that because I'm pretty sure there's lots of resource management going on under high level MMOs.
I question it. I highly question it. Fight me over it. You guys do nothing. You sit around all day, and then you do it for 4 hours.
I played
everyone
WoW.
Has to take smoke breaks.
I played WoW. I solo mission to level 60. What the fuck do you know?
But yeah, it's it's death has a pretty minor negative. Not to say that's not a negative. It definitely slows you down, but it's not going to stop you from progressing. But I liked a lot of the sort of rogue elements, like if you are just going and eating items, like I said, there are items that will give you +1 level and items that just straight up take levels. So if you're just going and eating items that you find on the floor, you might end up losing levels. Just fun effects like that, and kind of gives you a feeling of like a good temporary feeling of your character. Just sort of an all vague thing. When I played it, the number one thing I think I can say is I didn't play and go, I wish it had this the whole time, which that's a big pain in a lot of games. It's just like I walked away and I was satisfied. It was like just I went to McDonald's and I just stuffed my face full of food. I went to In-N-Out and I got my double. I got it animal style. I just kind of like lounged and put it in my mouth. So I can't talk about the plot because I don't really know what's going on. I'm sitting here going like, this game was good. I don't really remember it though, but I remember that I enjoyed it. It's super basic, and you know what? For most people, I'd probably recommend playing this game. Just like if you got some spare time and it's late night,
crank out a dungeon of Chocobo.
It just run around in it. You'll in like 2 or 3 attempts. If you sit and do a dungeon for 2 hours, you'll probably get through it. And I think there's a good amount of game there. The only thing I would say is if you got another game that you'd rather or not even that you'd rather play, but another game that you also want to play, this would probably eat up more time than you'd want it to, just with its grindiness. But yeah, if you're very much like you need an MMO or just something that you can just sit like, well, like you looking for fishing games, you just need like a relaxing game where you can just like sit and catch the fish. Gonna go to the Hylian pond and just sit there and fish all day. That is like the summary of the game that I played.
Actually, I'm curious. I don't know if you specified. So you brought up like how the potions and their effects are sort of randomized.
Yeah.
How frequently is there actual like randomization to the dungeons? Like if you lose in a dungeon and go back, is it random?
It is completely anew when you go back to it. There's a few things that'll be predictable. Like when you play, there's like, okay, I recognize this layout, but that layout isn't always the same. Kind of like when you play Diablo. It's like, oh, I know this nook that has the guy in it. If you know what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
It has sort of like it's got repeating segments or chunks that are kind of taped together to make full dungeons. Anything else?
Actually, how many party members do you get?
It seems like only ever 2. And actually, something I didn't know. I actually noticed this when I was looking it up just on the Wikipedia to make sure I got the name right and everything. You can actually have the second party member be played by a second character.
That's neat.
It's a neat thing. Yep.
Do you know how many different characters you get, or is it just
no idea? I've seen the 3. I've seen Moogle, White Mage, and Sid. I don't know how much that would change. I think I only got through maybe a third of the game. It's a pretty big game as far as I can tell. There could be more. There could be one for every dungeon. There's maybe 10 dungeons or something. So yeah, you good for your game?
I think I'm good. I'm ready to talk.
All right.
I played Point Blank 2 for the PlayStation. I think I don't know about you. You sounded like you didn't exactly know what it is, but I've always sort of felt like when it comes to like light gun games, I feel like Point Blank, at least the first one, was sort of the quintessential one. Like it's the one that I saw most frequently next to like House of the Dead. I don't know about you, how much you remember playing Point Blank.
When you said Point Blank, I never would have recognized the game by that title. But when I looked it up and I saw the imagery of like the guys in the mustaches,
the
I was like,
guys.
I know what that shit is. But yeah, when I think quintessential light gun game, I think of Jurassic Park. I think of Jurassic Park and the bouncy seat, and I think of I don't remember what it's called.
Is it Time Crisis you're thinking of?
I think it's Time Crisis. I was trying to think. I was thinking like Time Stoppers or something. Time Crisis has like 5, doesn't it?
Where you're shooting like SWAT guys and stuff.
Yeah, I think of Time Crisis. I don't necessarily think of because this is like WarioWare light gun game.
Mm-hmm.
that is intended to play semi-competitive with a friend next to you, so you can put more quarters in the machine. But well, that's an adventure in as itself. It's a very, very arcade game.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that's why I sort of think of it as like I don't think like Time Crisis the same way I don't think of House of the Dead, because while those were definitely in the arcades, they're sort of like linear shooting games. Yeah. They weren't arcade shooters like you play up against your friends the same way. Here's a good way to put it. Like, they're all arcade light gun games, but Point Blank is a carnival light gun game. Yeah. If that makes sense to you.
And like light gun games on rails,
like squirting water in the clown's mouth type carnival kind of thing. Its primary focus is to be a competitive like challenge game, which sort of comes ultimately to the main problem of playing Point Blank in this gauntlet is I'm playing a obviously multiplayer game by myself. So
did you set the computer to off and just win them all? And said, well, I beat my game.
Well, here's the thing. It's sort of like the main thing, like sort of like when you click play game, like just the sort of obvious play game, it automatically, like it just assumes there's a second player controller in. Like you see the second player's cursor, even though you don't have a controller in the slot.
Yeah.
It's just there. Like, so someone's playing with you, right? You're not home alone on a Friday night, are you?
You do have friends, right?
Exactly. So basically my first run through of this game was basically playing the multiplayer, first player, and basically just playing the mini games. And for someone who hasn't seen Point Blank, it's basically a bunch of different types of light gun mini games, like things like shoot the targets as they appear, shoot the target, shoot certain color targets, but not the other color target kind of things. Shoot or what's like that game that kind of like Simon Says game that's always in like Japanese arcades where it's like holding up the red and white flags.
Oh yeah, flags. That everyone knows probably from Mario Party, the Shy Guy.
Yeah, at least West Coast. That's where most people would know it. Here in the States is the Mario Party variant of that.
I'm gonna assume, however, we do have a pretty tight viewership here. I think it's even more minimal. Hey, shout out to all of our Japanese listeners. So tell us what games you know this. What is the proper name for the holding the flag up game?
But yeah, so it basically any sort of mini game, like whether it be sort of WarioWare-esque or just conventional like Duck Hunt style, any sort of or paintball, any sort of those kind of mini game things, there's probably a variant of it in sort of the collection of game, which is probably, I would say, anywhere between like 50 and 100. It's a big ballpark, but I don't know the exact number of the games.
About how long are each of these games on average?
It depends. I would say they're never longer than 30 seconds.
And you were saying like 100?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's that? That's 30 times 100. That's 3,000. If I'm doing my maths right. Divide that by 60. That's 500 minutes. 50 minutes. I can't math.
Then stop trying.
50 minutes. So you sat alone for 50 minutes playing a light gun game against no one.
No, because I didn't play all the mini games, and I'm sure there's still some that I haven't played yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I played that a little bit. It was obviously not the way you're supposed to play it, so I backed out, and I found the sort of just arcade mode, the kind of thing you would find in the arcade, where you're playing the game and it basically has the press start now or insert credit now for player 2 to join kind of thing. So and with that, you're just playing the mini games by yourself with a selected goal, like hit 30. It's not just beat your opponent; it's hit specifically 30 targets kind of thing. So and if you fail to do that, you lose a point, and then if you lose all your points, it's game over, and you need to put a credit in. So it's basically it's not endurance in the fact that it's endless, though there is that option available if you want to do it. But the arcade is sort of like it's play 16 levels kind of thing, and you can choose your difficulty of which kind of difficulty you want to do on different games.
Wait, we are emulating this stuff. We didn't go out and buy these games. Since this is a light gun game, did you play it with, say, a built-in light gun, or were you just using like an Xbox controller? I
was using a controller D-pad to move the reticule. I don't know if EPSX emulator allows for cursor style like pointing. I never tried. I never really checked. I just used because I figured, and even if it did, I figured if I was a kid, I probably wouldn't have owned the PlayStation light gun. So I'd probably be playing it with the controller. So I figured I'd just stick with that and see how it works before I sort of get into what the actual one-player game is, because I did eventually find like sort of like what the thing the kid who's alone on a Friday night is supposed to play by himself.
It just ridicules you the whole time.
Yeah, because I mean, even if you're playing regular arcade mode, it still has blinking in the corner. Player 2, any moment now.
Yeah.
You can why haven't you joined in the fun? Is it because you're not there?
He's in the corner playing a Bug's Life on his Game Boy.
Playing Bug's Life on GBA. But yeah, so and it's probably not a radical surprise, but playing with a controller is obviously not how you're supposed to play it. So first issue I thought what the problem was no matter how you cut it, you just can't move the crosshair fast enough across the screen to shoot all the targets you want. Like that was what I thought was just the problem. So I went to the options, and sure enough there is a cursor speed for your D-pad. So I set it to so it's got like low, medium, high, max. It was already set to high as default, so I put it to max to get the fastest. And shortly thereafter, what I learned is the problem isn't that it's not fast enough. It's that it's just simply not precise enough in general. You'll never. And the problem is that it'll always be inconsistent, because there will be games where if you have not max speed, but you have high speed or even medium speed, then those mini games would be a cakewalk, not even a challenge.
Yeah.
And then there's games when you have max on, they're a cakewalk and not even a challenge. And then there's other ones that are just absolutely impossible because you just don't have the finesse anymore. So it's very inconsistent. You'll just sometimes just come across games where you're just probably just not going to be able to win with this type of cursor speed, and you'll just have to take your lumps with that.
Yeah. I doubt it. I'm guessing you didn't bump into it, but did you think to try and check if there's like a hold down circle and that makes you move at double speed sort of thing,
I hadn't come across like if there's like adjustable speeds like in game. I don't think there is. I tried pushing buttons on this, and it's very few buttons. It's like very obviously like there's movement, and then there's shoot button, and that's pretty much all you get.
Yeah.
Like not even like you like start button doesn't even work to start the game.
Well,
you use a shoot button.
That's what would be on the light gun. I'm sure the light gun.
Yeah, and that's
just
the thing.
tied to X or something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is the entire game's built, even menu navigation's built around the assumption you're using a light gun.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's the problem is you especially since you can't adjust your speeds on the fly, or like even you can't even like pause in the middle of the game and say I obviously need max speed for this one, or I obviously need high speed for this one. So it just does not work. Another problem is well, like I said, also just in general, just because you don't have the sort of finesse of a light gun pointer to aim and shoot. There's the problem with the cursor. There's also games that are obviously just way too easy with the controller. Like what it is most of them are things like if it's like a shoot, like one of the challenges is there's a tractor, and it's like gonna crush the little Muppet mascot of the Point Blank games. And the goal of it is to shoot the tractor 40 times before the timer runs out. Now with like a light gun, I imagine with like an actual trigger, you're having to like hit the spring on that trigger and go ping, pating, pating. So it's a little harder and a little more, requires more dexterity and strength to rattle out all those 40 hits. In this one, it's just, and then you're done. It just takes no effort. There's another one where it's just a basic shoot the targets type minigame, and the targets move not in like horizontal or vertical movements. They sort of move in a pseudo 3D style, similar to like what you might see in like a Genesis game, where all the targets are sort of orbiting around like a sort of center, like a planet.
Yeah.
And because it's of that, you don't have to actually aim. It's just once you get the reticule in the center, it's just once again just start smashing it and you're shooting all the targets because since they're orbiting a center, you're eventually just hitting all the targets because they will eventually hit that center, pass by it. So, and with a light gun, it would be much harder to have like a stationary crosshair that never moves.
Yeah.
You would always just have like, you're just very slight, trigger movements with your hand.
Yeah, not to say that there's any kickback on a light gun.
No.
But you're not going to have steady hands when you start hammering a trigger over and over.
Yeah, I mean, for reference, if you've ever like used the Wii cursor during the menu, you never have like straight as an arrow. Like
as soon as you select something on a Wii menu, you're off on some other selection now.
Yeah, you don't have sharpshooter fingers where if you stick them out, they aren't shaking a little.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the biggest problem with this is. Not that it's obviously impossible or that it obviously breaks the game that's easy. It's just so wildly inconsistent that it's like if you're not playing with a light gun, you're obviously just missing out on the whole point of the game.
Yeah, it either makes it way too easy and not worth playing, or so hard that you couldn't. Why bother playing?
There's ones that like I'm like 70% convinced that you can't just play it unless you have like a really nice controller that just gives you that kind of finesse that you need.
It's got that oomph.
Mm-hmm. Got to get the Xbox Elite controllers. Have you seen those?
No.
Is
this like a new thing? Because if it's new, I don't know. I only know old games.
They're ones you can get for Xbox One and Windows. They're like $80, and they're like the controllers for the elites. Hence the name.
Jesus, those controllers better give me a blowjob when I buy them. Fuck me.
It's got when you order it, you can do customizable face colors for all the individual buttons and all the triggers and things. So if you ever wanted, like, you're sitting looking at your Xbox controller and you're like, man, I wish that had the color scheme of Neon Genesis Evangelion. you can do it.
Wait, so you can just change the color of the buttons? Can you change like the labeling on the face? Because I need to get all my hentais on it.
All the buttons, it's just colors. I don't think they do decals yet, and they might do some, but so far it's just solid colors. So you do the faceplate, you can do all the buttons, all the what you call them, not the analog sticks. Yeah. You can make those different colors, and the faceplate and the backplate of the controller can also.
I kind of see, maybe not for 80. I can see for 60, like if I could do customized like decal shit, I can kind of see that for like the novelty's sake.
Yeah, I would do 60, and even not for the customization.
Just for the buttons, or would you do 60 for if they actually had like a decal on it?
I would do 60 for just the colors, honestly.
Yeah.
Like just the colors and the fact that it's it's obviously a really good controller.
Well, I would do it. I would do it for 40 to get the colors, and I would get it to be the same colors of the Pikachu Nintendo 64 console.
Alec, if you're saying 40, then that's clearly how out of the loop you are for average name brand controllers. Average controllers, like if you want official PlayStation or Xbox controllers, they're $50.
Fuck me.
Yeah, no, that's how it is. Even back in 360 era, it was like that. 360 and PS3 they were like $50.
Whatever. I'm gonna go play Shenmue over here without you.
50
on my
$40
Dreamcast.
between $40 and $50 just for the standard controller. I mean, not. I mean, we're cheapskates, or at least I am, because I have the $20 Logitech, and I'm dealing with that.
What do you mean? No, you're dealing with my $20 Logitech right now.
Yeah, because you stole mine.
No, I didn't steal it. We accidentally switched them because they were.
You accidentally switched them, which, as far as I'm concerned, was the better trade-off for me because my R1 is broken, but yours isn't. So I got the better controller.
Why would I have stolen yours then?
Because you're dumb. And you know what? It's your fault anyway. You're the one who dropped my controller when you were playing Dark Souls drunk.
Whatever. I'm gonna come down to your house. I'm gonna get a Mountain Dew. I'm gonna pour it in all the buttons. And I'm gonna get sticky. You're gonna turn to concrete.
You're gonna eat an electric raspberry popsicle while playing video games.
Anyway, we've talked about peripherals now. Do you still got more want to go on? Have you talked about the actual single player yet?
That's what I was just about to get into, was the actual single player, because there is an actual sort of campaign mode, a sort of quote-unquote story going on.
Ooh, Oh, it's got plot now? Okay, well, let me start by asking, were you lost at all on the plot? Because this is the second one and you didn't play the first.
No. If it's got any connections to the first one, they're tangential at best.
Oh, okay. So this is like alternate universe shit. Okay.
Yeah, this is.
Carry on.
Yeah, this is point blank before they introduce the cinematic universe. Yeah, so the story begins. It's a big theme park, and you're just a healthy young lad, the age of like I don't know 10 or 11. You're wearing a Boy Scout uniform, and you're carrying a black 9mm through the theme park. And it's just like you're just holding like just a straight up gun. It doesn't have like the pink and blue like you'd expect from a light gun.
Yeah.
Not even like a red dot on the end of the barrel to denote that it's a fake gun. You're just walking through the theme park with your gun until suddenly the king, I guess the king of the theme park, comes up to you and says, while he was taking a massive shit in the toilet, someone must have kidnapped his princess, his daughter, and this is the actual story. It's you see him talking about how he was away from his princess for just a few moments, and then she disappeared, and you see like a memory like thought bubble of like him coming out of the toilet, seeing that she's missing. So now you have to go find her, and the way to find her is of course to play mini games.
Well, by the way, little announced to you, it's not actually a theme park. It's just a very, very whimsical kingdom.
A very whimsical kingdom where everyone owns guns.
Yeah. Well, a right to bear arms, I guess.
all the cartoon Muppets are running around going, "Shall not be infringed."
I ain't treading on their rights. They got guns.
Yeah. So what it is you're introduced to four sort of like theme levels kind of things, like boards similar to how you might do like in Mario Party, and these are the ones four of them. You can pick any order you want to play them. So I'll just go in sort of a vague clockwise look at them. Mm-hmm. So one of them is like a space level, and what it is when you're doing that space level, it's sort of like in between the mini games, you're sort of like on a sort of on rail segment where like asteroids and like various space debris are flying at your spaceship, and you have to shoot them. Mm-hmm. And if you fail to shoot one, it starts up the mini game kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's like and the sort of different objects that are flying at you cause different games. So if you know there's a game you're better at, you can try and avoid the ones that you're worse at, like focus on shooting those instead kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, and since this is a Namco game, one of the things you'll also be shooting are Galligans that are flying around.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, but those mini games suck. They're too hard. So I don't. So I definitely put priority on shooting those or making sure easier games hit me along the way. So basically what it is survive till the sort of specified end. I don't know if it's possible that you could play through this whole thing without potentially playing a single mini game if you were just that crack of a shot.
Look for the speed run of it where they do it,
Yeah. So I don't know if it's sort of like if there's a set number of games you have to play, or if it's just a set amount of like distance or time that passes outside of mini games they have to do. Mm-hmm. So basically, what you do is you go through that until you finally reach the end, and reach the end is just like another unique mini game where you just shoot aliens before they reach the Earth. So basic stuff. So and as your reward for completing one of these segments is one, depending on your rank, you get some special items, like you'll get like you can get a shotgun that increases the overall width of your shots for the next mini game you do, or you can also get a automatic gun, so that way you can sort of hold it down and it does a rapid shoot. So you'll get either one of those, and then also you'll get the person who runs the mini game will give you a clue about the princess. Like you beat it, and she says, "I think I saw the princess. She was definitely not wearing a yellow dress." So you'll get that.
So there's gonna be a fucking guess who at the end of this shit, ain't there?
That's what I think.
Oh, you didn't get that far?
Yeah, I'll explain why I couldn't get to that point.
Okay.
Once I go through all the levels. So after you do that one, there's another one where it's there's a train. It's a train similar to this one's just on a rails. And then at this point, you kind of realize that each of these have like at least a vague theme of what mini games are put in it.
Yeah.
Like the space one had lots of stationary objects that rotated, and you had to shoot them at the right time, kind of thing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like it has lots of space ones, and this one has lots of cowboy ones.
No. It's
not the actual like way you play them.
Yeah, it was actually like the kind of themed shooting type games, like what type of games they were. So it was that, and with the exception of like the Galaga one, for just shoot like regular Galagans like you would in that kind of game. Yeah, so so it's a vague one, and then with the train one, where you're sort of riding down a train, this one is definitely like it's all about shooting all the targets kind of thing. Like there's a set number of targets in this level, you have to shoot them all within the time limit kind of thing. And this one, I do believe it's most definitely there's like a limited number of mini games you have to play before you reach the end to beat them all. Or if it's not that, what it is in between it while you're riding the train, targets come up, they're harmless, but the more you shoot, the better your rank will be at the end. So maybe there's a minimum of them you have to shoot. That could also be another limit. But I'm pretty sure with this one, it's just like play 5 games or something like that. 5 or 10. I never counted. Yeah, so this one was the most basic one. And then once again, you get some more special weapons and a clue about who the princess is, or what she looks like. And these two are, I would say, the easiest, and they're the best suited for the controller. Mm-hmm. The next ones will get a little more trickier, but at the same time, it's in this that I sort of realized that this overall one-player campaign was definitely built better with the assumption that you're playing with a controller.
Oh.
Because once you earn, once I earned like the shotgun and I decided to use it in one of the minigame levels, I was playing and I was feeling like this feels like how the game was supposed to be played, kind of thing. Having the wider shot, like obviously made like it turned what was once almost impossible into a much simpler exercise. And I used the shotgun one for the next one, which was the submarine. And this one was a lot harder for me to do the actual mini games. Thinking about it now, quite embarrassingly, I can't remember what the theme of these levels were. but I can assure you that using the shotgun was obviously the right choice for this one.
Did you just fly through them so quickly that you barely registered what it was? Then?
It went from I was consistently failing every time to once as soon as I got this special weapon, I beat the entire thing in one go.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and then with the final game, this is the one that's most interesting, but also the worst. And this one, it's a haunted house, and this one it plays quite relevant to you playing a mystery dungeon, the Chocobo one. This one is also it's done like a first-person randomly generated dungeon where you sort of navigate rooms and you come across treasure chests that will give you more hearts so you can withstand more mini games, or you'll bump into enemies that start up mini games kind of thing.
We need a light gun RPG.
And that's kind of what I can't remember its name now. Not Snatchers, the TurboGrafx game I played. What was it called?
Silent Debuggers.
Yes, thank you for remembering.
Yeah,
Silent Debuggers.
I guess that was an almost light gun game.
Since it was would
have worked better if it was a light gun game.
Since it was it was a first person crosshair shooting game, like a first person, and it didn't have like real RPG mechanics, but it did have like a resource allocation, management for that. So, and that's stats, I guess, an equivalent for stats for that game.
So hey, we're putting this though on top 10 list of games that need to be made. One of them is going to be Light Gun RPG, and the other one is the fishing game that has supernatural elements at the end.
I forgot about that.
And we're definitely not. You're not going to fish up Cthulhu or an Eldritch Horror or Dagon. No, because that's been done. It's just going to be like an alien. You fish up like Frankenstein or something.
I thought it was going to be like a white cloth ghost.
you fish up like a Hitler or something like that, a Hitler clone at the bottom of the sea, and it turns out that there's an undersea city of Hitlers, and you go down there and you fish, and that's a plot.
There we go. It's a fishing game in the genre and format of Smash TV, where it's like you got two two fishing wranglers, and they cast their lines out at zombies that come at them.
But now you just, because you brought up Smash TV, need a fishing game where you catch a fish, so you start pulling up and you're about to reel it in, and it's like, dude, this isn't even my final form. Turns into a big fish.
You're reeling in the fish, and turns out the fish is just like a fake fish that's like attached to like a giant angler fish.
Yeah. I'm learning C# right now. We're gonna make this game happen. Septopus. We're gonna start working on it. Hey, we're making a Kickstarter right now. I'm typing it up. You can hear me. I'm typing. You go and fund us, boys. You're gonna get that fishing game.
I donate
$1. I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, so anyway, like I said, so the haunted house is you just sort of navigate a randomly generated dungeon, you shoot, and like a spooky bat shows up and says like, aha, now you have to play my minigame.
Quick, shoot the bat.
Yeah. And this one was certainly sort of like a lot of sort of like rapid. This was definitely the one where rapid fire was the best option to go with, like any sort of machine guns type option, because a lot of things were sort of like objects run by quickly, or you have like minimal amount of time to shoot all targets, kind of thing. So this one, and this one is potentially like the level itself is the easiest, but the difference between this one and why I could never actually complete it was that all the other ones were just a matter of survive. Lose games, that's fine. Lose your games. But so long as you reach the end and you didn't lose all your little heart lives or whatever, you win. That's all it takes. This one, similarly, you get to the end, but the end has a boss in this one, unlike all the other ones. Except for there's the alien one had a sort of boss, but that one was so easy it didn't really matter. This one on the other hand is so difficult that I'm so convinced it's almost impossible. This one it's what it is you shoot skeletons. Simple enough. Skeletons hop from the ceilings. They bounce around from like a big pile of bones that's at the bottom. And also occasionally bombs fly out. And if you hit the bombs, you hurt one of your hearts and you lose one. Mm-hmm. So that's just the game. But what makes this so bad is, one, if it's emulation problems, that may be it. I don't think so. The skeletons just have like really wonky hitboxes. It's hard to know where you're supposed to hit them. Like, there'll be times where I feel like I shot like directly like center of the skeleton and it didn't register. And then there's also times where I felt like I nicked it and that was enough to count for a shot.
Let me bring up this. My first question is this one that's ripped from the arcade, or is this one that is completely original for like the single player campaign?
Mm-hmm. All the mini games within the big games are from the arcade.
But are the boss ones like this skeleton one from the arcade?
The skeleton one I have in fact played when I did arcade.
Okay, and then my follow-up is
the difference was I think maybe there might have been a different number of skeletons in the arcade mode.
But my follow-up was going to be, dude, they're fucking skeletons. Of course you're missing when you hit them dead on. They're bones. You're shooting past them.
Yeah, but it's not like the sprite. It's not like the sprites are obviously like, don't shoot the rib cage because then you'll shoot through it.
Skeletons.
It's not like
going through them.
It's not like that, okay? Okay, trust me. The sprites aren't detailed enough for that kind of complexity to work.
Oh, okay. Neither is it in Morrowind. In Morrowind, you hit people dead on and it says you straight up missed. That's because it's rolling the dice in the background, saying like, what's the probability that you hit the skeleton when you aimed right here in its chest?
You saying rolling the dice, that comes up to another point that makes this game so hard is when you do it, it always the skeletons are random. It's completely random how many they come out. Mm-hmm. So there's like points where it feels like you're just not getting enough skeletons in general, even if you're like shooting like 80% of them.
Yeah.
So it's like then there'll be times where it's like I'm obviously like, oh, look at all these skeletons I'm suddenly getting. And, it's like I've gotten 35 out of 36 skeletons like several times in this game. It was insufferable. But yeah, and what it is kind of like the sort of number of skeletons / bombs you get is sort of like comes in waves. So it's like this wave has 5 skeletons and you won't get the next wave of items until all these skeletons are either shot or disappear. So there will be like moments where it's like I'm running out of time. I have to shoot the bombs and hurt myself. Otherwise, I'm not going to get another wave of things to show up, kind of thing. Because if I have to wait for the bombs to fly up in the air and then lower, the arc time is just way too long. I have to shoot the bombs. I have to hurt myself. So like it's like I could even only like get good with a bad like randomness if I had like more than 5 hearts already like backstocked. Like I took the effort to make sure I have enough hearts by the time I reach the boss. And the thing is that with the boss, when I first fought it, I had like 3 hearts, and I thought, oh, I lost. I guess that just means I lost a heart, right? Nope, instant game over when you reach the boss. No matter how many hearts you had, no matter how well you did before the game, it's a game over. So I never was able to beat this one, but 3 out of 4 is enough to get you to the final level. And with the final level, this one is awful. So it's awful, one, that it's extremely hard, and it's awful two because I like had fucked up and I lost my save file for the game. Like it.
Cheers.
So I wasn't gonna play through it all like over again, because you get to save after every time you beat one of these levels.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I did. Is I was able to clear all 3 except for the Haunted Mansion, and I kept playing the Haunted Mansion over and over until I just said I give up. I'm just gonna go to the final level, and if I can't find the princess, then fuck it. And then for the final level, you have to fight Dr. Dan and Dr. Dawn, which are the mascots, the Muppets. And what they do is like they'll like release these sort of like mechanical versions of themselves that slowly inch closer to the front of the screen, and they like sort of like grab like your energy packs or whatever to steal them, and you have to shoot them in the mouth to get them to stop. I don't know, this probably sounds familiar to like some kind of like carnival game, where you shoot them and then they fall back to the back of the screen again, and they all sort of inch closer again.
And you just keep them from getting all the way up.
Yeah, exactly. And as time goes on, they get faster and more of them show up, so it's harder to manage it. So yeah. And this one is really hard because the mouths, like once again, it's like the hitbox is bizarre. Like I have no idea where I'm supposed to. I know I'm supposed to shoot them in the mouth, but I'll like obviously be like mashing the button. I'm like, I'm shooting them in the mouth and nothing is happening.
They're eating the bullets, dude.
Yeah,
it's RNG, dude. Rolling the dice.
Yeah. So they're like they're not only is it like not registering, just the whole like little robot guy in general is like just a small hitbox. So it's really hard to aim, especially like I said, since I have max speed on and not like high speed or medium speed. There's not much. I can't like do like very small movements to get like the perfect spot wherever it is in their mouth that's to shoot them. So this took me several tries, and then I finally did it. Like it was like there was one guy, if he had just taken one more step back, I would have lost. So I was like, yes, I won, I did it. And then the guys say, well, you know what? Time for round 2. And I thought, okay, shit, round 2, whatever. It's gonna be hard, right? No, it's not that it's hard. It's that it just picks up literally right from when it left off. So I don't even get to actually try and play round 2. I instantly lost because the guy just took one step back and it was over. I could not. Then there's no way I could actually shoot his mouth, even if I had like perfect aim. It literally just game over like right after it. I didn't even get a chance to try and shoot him.
Shit's fucking perfect.
So it's like why even tell me we're gonna start round 2 if I'm literally just a dead man walking at that point. So yeah, so at that point I had lost, and I had lost my save. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna try. I'm done. The princess can fuck off. We can all just speculate that, like I said, like you get clues about the princess's appearance after beating the levels. So it's once you add them all up, you probably can reduce it and shoot the right princess, or I guess, or maybe not shoot the princess. Yeah. But yeah, and I do believe that depending on the rank that you gets you better clues about the princess's appearance. Because I feel like when I got like a rank B in one, she said like I think she was wearing a white dress. And then when I got like an A rank, she says like she was definitely not wearing a yellow dress, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like the how well you do also in those games also determines how easy it is for you to figure out who is the princess at the end of the game. So that's the game. Being able to play this single player campaign certainly bumped it up because, like I said, by giving you those special powers and also the sort of games within the mini games were obviously more built with the understanding that you're playing it single player, that you're probably playing it with a controller. But it was still balls hard. I don't plan on finishing it anytime soon. But I had my fun. I would say if you're gonna play it, obviously play it A with a friend, and B you might as well play at an arcade because that's obviously the more appropriate environment for it anyway.
A little more rambunctious and possibly
yeah
had a few drinks or something, and you're there with a friend. Play the game in the corner of the room that no one else plays because it's got the coolest graphics.
It's the sequel to Point Blank. Point Blank's a classic arcade shooter. Most everyone who's ever been in an arcade or even just like Chuck E. Cheese knows what Point Blank is, at least in some small fashion.
Yeah, even if if you're just listening to the audio of this and it's on YouTube, I'll probably have pictures up and you'll do what I did and go, oh yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, you'll get the flood of, oh yeah, that game, I remember that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably won't recognize it by title, like Point Blank. That's kind of generic. Anyway. There's a lot of things that can be Point Blank, but when you see, you're like, oh, the thing with the Muppets that shoot sheep.
Next time we do our next Gauntlet roll, I'm gonna get spider squishers.
I hope I get the crocodile game.
Did you cheat and did you grab both mallets?
I just use my hands.
Or use your hand, the even bigger cheater way.
Hey, those mallets are made a little too big to get those gators because they're in those little wedge cubby holes, and the mallet's a little bit bigger than the cubby hole. Sad.
I remember
what was my Valkyrie no Densu references in this game? Come on.
Maybe they might actually be in there. I would not be surprised if there's a mini game like that takes place in like Scandinavia and it's shoot the Vikings and one of the mascots is dressed as her or something like that. I would not be surprised at all.
She is like one of those characters that they just we'll just jam her in the background of that, or I think that there's even visual novels or stuff that Namco has put out where she's just the character who is in the shop sort of thing.
Yeah, the Valkyrie became the quintessential let's have cameos and homages to her in all our games.
Yeah, we'll make only 2 games with her in it, but we're gonna stick her in other things.
Yeah, I know her costume was the alternate for Cassandra.
Yeah.
In Soul Calibur.
And I think that her sprite is jammed in a Tekken game or 2 somewhere. All sorts of things like that. Anyway.
I was gonna stay on the topic with the alligator game. I think we all, or at least you probably do, and I know I do, is when in Game Center CX when Areno starts doing that and the announcer says Areno clearly has no shame for cheating in children's games. Anyway. I think we've both spoken in length about our games.
Not only have we spoken in length, we both had quite a bit of digression for both of our games. We've gotten too relaxed about this whole podcasting thing, and we're just gonna ramble about not our game.
We're not professional enough.
Well, I've noticed the podcast, even though what the context of stuff we have to talk about hasn't increased, the amount of time that we talk has increased. But
Is it time to roll?
It's time to roll up. So yeah, to reinstate, we are doing PlayStation a second time. I think adding PlayStation to the list. We've done everything else twice, right?
We've done a cycle of all the games that we've done them more than once.
And so we're adding it to the cycle, so we're going to do it twice.
All right.
I think that's appropriate.
Right,
okay, so you want to do the countdown?
I have to pull it up first. I forgot to pull it up.
Okay. Boom,
all right, it's ready. 3, 2, 1. Don't be a sports game.
I got what I don't know this game.
Read it off. Let's see.
I want to hear yours first.
I got Urban Chaos.
I got Martian Gothic.
Sounds rad.
Holy shit, dude. Holy shit. I'm gonna send you by Skype, and by Skype I mean I'm gonna just turn the monitor so that you can see it since you're sitting in the room with me here. Paste it right here. This is what I'm getting. Look at this shit.
It's some kind of action game that I got. What is this? Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh, you know what? I think I might have actually seen this game. Let me actually look it up. Let me look it up myself because I think I've actually seen some gameplay of Martian Gothic.
I think I got a fucking winner today.
Oh yeah. I've seen this. It's basically a Resident Evil clone, but with aliens.
I was gonna say, looking at the screenshots, it looks
and you're in a spaceship. Yeah, I've definitely seen this game before.
Yeah, so for better or for worse, I think this is a good role.
Yeah, and as someone who's seen maybe the first 30 minutes of this game, it seems like it'll be interesting to try out.
Yeah, because tank controls, PlayStation, it looks interesting.
It's the true PlayStation experience.
Yeah,
and similarly, I think I got the action game equivalent of the true PlayStation experience with Urban Chaos.
What was this? Is this side-scrolling action?
No, this is 3D, third-person perspective.
Okay.
So maybe technically a PlayStation 2 more equivalent, but it's I would say probably late PlayStation action game. Back when once the DualShock became the regular controller instead of the one without the analog sticks.
Make it almost possible to play a Monster Hunter game without using the claw.
Yeah, let me actually make sure that I clicked PlayStation 1. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there is no PlayStation 2 on this list. Because it does look like there's a PlayStation 2 version of this.
Is it one of those really late releases where it was on both?
It might. Oh no, I was probably just seeing a sequel. Yeah, okay. It was PlayStation Dreamcast is what it was in 2000.
Well then, is that all we got?
Sounds like it.
All right. So we'll work on these and we'll put it together next time. Maybe we got some even better winners. I think we got some good games for this one, or at least I did. I don't know how you feel about yours in the end. Yours is acceptable, but
I at least acceptable. Yeah, I'm as far as knowing nothing about the game, it looks like it's a game I'm definitely willing to try out.
Yeah.
However, it's not a Bugs Life game, and I think we can all be thankful for that.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to spoil the Bugs Life games when you play through all of them and you do your criticism on them.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
So